Gaza it just kills me when I see what the Israelis have done, specifically in what academic institutions which have created scientists, doctors, fantastic artists, and so on. And I personally have at home a collection of those painters. Some of them, unfortunately, have been killed, and others trying to survive. But I'm very, very glad that also we at Dar Kalima are focusing on those artists the surviving artists in Gaza, and also the young children of Gaza who have unbelievable traumas. They need help, and probably 10,000 psychiatrists are not enough to go and help the children of Gaza. And I think what we're doing is a great job in terms of art therapy and taking good care of them, whether it is with music or any other form of art. Sad, but maybe an opportunity to show that humanity still exists. I was born in Jaffa, and we had to leave. I was almost 10 years old, and my father was an optimist. He thought we'll come back in 2 weeks. My mother was the realist, so she smuggled without his knowledge our silverware. That's all she got out, because it meant a lot to her. It was a wedding gift from someone dear to her. And we went to Lebanon thinking that we're on vacation. It was the month of May, 1948. After a while, we ran out of cash. We couldn't get our funds out of Palestine. And the problem was with people who were doing very well, who had a nice a comfortable lifestyle, and socially at, say, a certain level, all of a sudden were out. I mean, it was, as children, we didn't feel it so much because parents tried to secure us, for us, everything. But then it reached a point where the well dried up completely. My father had to go back to work, to someone who used to be an apprentice of his, which was great, but then he had problems with his eyes, his age, etc. And I saw this, I just felt, God, he doesn't deserve that after all these years. So I decided, in a way, to go on my own, in my own way. And then as I progressed and did well, I decided I will go back to Palestine once there is a glimpse of hope. But to do what? To create jobs. That was my main concern, because we had an unemployment, and some worked in Israel under, I think, terrible conditions. So I was lucky to find an opportunity in bottling Coca-Cola, which was a labor-intensive business. I was lucky. I had a great team, great partners. But then I decided, for personal reason and for also son passed away, to get out and focus more on the businesses where I can give rather than take. And I landed at Dar al-Kalima. And here I am, in the middle of a beautiful hub.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Ortman, and I am the Executive Director of Bright Stars of Bethlehem. I want to thank you all for joining us for this very special Holy Week live stream, Hope for a Nation on the Cross. We hope that after the next hour, you will feel inspired and supported as we continue to do this work together. It's moments like this when we can all be together that we can draw strength and purpose from, despite how dark and hopeless things seem right now. As you heard from our opening video from DAK Board Director Zahi Khoury, what continues to happen in Gaza is unimaginable. But Dar al-Kalima University continues to provide hope and support. And we are here today to talk about how that hope is felt despite what is being experienced now. Before we get started, let me introduce you to our organization. For those of you that don't know, Bright Stars of Bethlehem's mission is to raise awareness and support for Dar al-Kalima University, the first and only university for arts and culture in all of Palestine. And our vision is for all people in Palestine to have life in abundance, which what an amazing thing to aspire to, especially when we need hope in these dark moments. For our long-term supporters, I want to thank you for joining us today and for continuing to stand with the people of Palestine. As we get started, a few housekeeping reminders. Please remember to turn up the volume on your computer so you clearly hear us today and any of the videos we are presenting. Type your questions into that chat so we can get to them at the end of our presentation today. And we are recording this live streaming. So if you want to share it afterwards or watch a part again, you can see that. We will send it out via email. And we also encourage you to visit brightstarsofbethlehem.org for any updates for more student stories and to sign up for our monthly e-newsletter. Now, before we welcome our man of the hour, our very own Reverend Dr. Mitri Raheb, a man who I am really sure at this moment never sleeps. We have a short Easter message that he wants us to reflect on during the rest of our time together.
Dear sisters and brothers, greetings from the little town of Bethlehem here in Palestine. As we celebrate this Holy Week on Palm Sunday, we woke up to hear that Israel has bombed one of the last remaining hospitals in Gaza, the Christian hospitals. During this Holy Week, as Palestinians, we carry the cross. It's a heavy cross that we have been carrying for decades, hoping for liberation to come. One of the most important chapters in the Bible that are read during Holy Week is Isaiah 53. There we read, like a lamb led to the slaughter. In this verse, the first church saw a prophecy about the passion and crucifixion of Jesus. But actually, that whole chapter, Isaiah 53, talks about a collective, about a whole people that are led like lamb to the slaughter. This is what we experience in Gaza, where a death culture is prevailing, where Israel is trying actually to make life unlivable, destroying the infrastructure, universities, schools, and actually killing many innocent people. Yet, during Holy Week, we look for Sunday morning. We look for light to overcome death, for hope to overcome hopelessness. We look for light to overcome darkness, for justice to overcome injustice. And we see God calling us to be part of this process of liberation, bringing hope to our people. Dear sisters and brothers, this is the mission of Dar al-Kalama University, is to walk with our people through rough times, to accompany them step by step, to provide education, empowerment, to make them ready for the day after, that they can survive, that they can be resilient, and they can be agents of transformation and change in our world. From the little town of Bethlehem, we wish you a blessed Easter. May the power of the resurrection give all of us in these difficult times hope and life.
In these moments, messages like this are really hard to hear when we only see darkness, but they're vital. And we are very fortunate to have Mitri here with us to share his insights. I'd love to introduce Mitri to all of you that don't know him yet. He is the founder and visionary leader of Bright Stars of Bethlehem, the president of Dar al-Kalama University, the leading Palestinian theologian, having written, edited, and contributed to an astounding 50 books and counting. We understand that books 51 and 52 are coming soon. And if you've not already read his recent work, Decolonizing Palestine, you can get a copy from Amazon. Or if you have read it, which we know most of you have on this webinar, we encourage you to lead your own book study and share all of his works with those around you. But while we wait for his new books to be published, we continue to learn from him in real time, like we get to today. So without further ado, welcome, Mitri.
Thank you, Tracy, and good to be with all of you. I see many friends are joining us this day, and I'm really grateful that so many of you showed up today, even on a day like Tuesday. You know, Sunday, this last Sunday was Palm Sunday. I'm sure many of you celebrated that in their churches. And in Jerusalem, we have every year a huge procession that starts actually at Bethany and goes all the way to the old city of Jerusalem. We remember Jesus entering Jerusalem at a time when we Palestinian Christians living in the West Bank are actually prohibited from entering Jerusalem. So I couldn't join this celebration, this procession 2 days ago, because since October 7, I have no permit to go even to Jerusalem. And you can see in the pictures, actually, there are most of the people there were international pilgrims. So we have pilgrims coming to Jerusalem, but the indigenous people of Palestine, the native Christians, are not allowed to enter the holy city. Yet this last Sunday, we woke up to see the Al-Ahli Hospital, one of the last operating hospitals in Gaza. There are 36 hospitals in Gaza. 33 of them are out of work. So this was one of the last 3 left, and this was bombed by Israel, destroying the ICU unit and actually damaging also the chapel. Those of you who follow what's happening in Gaza will remember that the first attack of Israel on a church and on a hospital in Gaza was on Al Ahli Hospital on October 17th, 2023. So here again, Israel actually bombs another a Christian hospital. But this week, during Holy Week, exactly a year ago, this is when we woke up to hear that Israel has also bombed our campus in Gaza that you see in these pictures. That place that was full of life and energy and art and creativity, within minutes actually was turned into a rubble. It's not only our campus. All 11 universities in Gaza were bombed by Israel and fully destroyed, destroying libraries, laboratories, classrooms, everything. This is true also for over 2/3 of the schools in Gaza that were bombed and are no more. And we call this scholasticide. It is like a suicide aimed at the educational system. As you know, our people were one of the most educated people in the entire region, and Israel wants to destroy that. And if you look at the pictures, you see what Israel is doing actually is carpet bombing. You see that especially in Rafah. If you look at this picture, you see Rafah before, that is the town all the way to the south of the Gaza Strip on the Egyptian border. You can see it up in the picture how it used to look like, and you see the same place down. It's really carpet bombing. Israel is destroying everything. The whole infrastructure is not leaving even one house there standing. And if you look at the map next to it, you can see that actually 2/3 of Gaza right now is no-go zone, which means Palestinians are not allowed to be there because they will be killed, bombed. And so, as you know, the whole of Gaza is only 360 square kilometers. Only 1/3 right now is available for people to be at. That is 46 square miles. That is, imagine, 46 square miles. That's all for 2.1 million people. Now, this also led for our staff to be displaced. We have 36 volunteering staff right now in Gaza. All of them used to live in the Gaza city, but right now you can see they are displaced all over the Gaza Strip. Some of them for the 13th time. I mean, it's just heartbreaking to see almost all our volunteers are living now in tents, displaced like the majority of the people in Gaza. 2 weeks ago, we lost also one of our volunteers and artists, Durgham, a young, very creative young man that was helping us. You can see him there painting our logo on the wall of actually one of the schools. You can see him also there with a mural that he and the other volunteers did at our campus. That is also destroyed. You see him with his cat. Durgam got married just this last February, so less than 2 months ago. And actually then was he, his wife, and 11 of his family were murdered in an Israeli airstrike 2 weeks ago. And just yesterday, we lost another artist that you see in the picture, the young woman, Dima Zohrub. Again, one of these young artists, you know, in Gaza, there are so many artists, and it is heartbreaking to see one after the other being murdered. You cannot imagine life in Gaza. If you were a child that was born, say, 16 years ago, that is 2008, with age of 2, you would have experienced the first assault. With age 5, the second assault. With age 7, the third. As a teenager, with 14, the fourth. With 15, the fifth. And now the genocide. This is what, you know, almost 1 million children in Gaza have experienced. So what does this do to them? And what about the trauma that they carry with them? You know, we cannot do post-traumatic stress because the trauma is not in the post phase. The trauma has been going on for decades, even for years. And actually, this is why our volunteers, our staff in Gaza, who are displaced, they said, we need to reach out to these kids where they are, in the tents, everywhere, and to do art therapy with them. And it's an amazing program that we see how they are serving 3,600 kids all over Gaza through art therapy. One of the projects that I love is what you see here in the picture. When they go, they collect part of the broken bricks, and they come and build a small home, and they color it, because we want to nurture this value of rebuilding, this value of culture of life, where Israel actually is exercising a culture of death all the time in Gaza. We think this is important, you know, to keep these kids sane, because, I mean, it is very easy to become insane if you live in Gaza. And this is why actually we are proud. This last Friday, we launched the first book of its kind in Arabic in music therapy by one of our artists, by one of our professors, who is one of the leading scholars in music therapy. As some of you might know, we started the first master program in art and music therapy. And now our students, but also many practitioners, could have this booklet. And in this book, you have actually barcodes. Through these barcodes, you can listen to music that was written by the professor, for example, for pregnant women, for elderly, for depressed people, for people under stress, etc. For every situation, there is a barcode that people can use. And so in this genocide, we try to do preventive measures, but also to educate, therapists who will be able to actually deal with this collective trauma that our people are carrying with them. To conclude this section on Gaza, I would like to mention my colleague Rana, who is, some of you maybe have met her before. Rana was the director of our campus in Gaza. She is herself from Gaza, an artist. She does sculptures, and she was able a year ago to get out with her 2 kids out of Gaza, and right now she is artist in residence in France. And but still, she runs actually all the 36 staff from Gaza. An incredible leader is Rana. And yesterday was the opening of her exhibition with another colleague of us from Gaza in Paris. And to that exhibition, actually, that exhibition was opened by the French President Macron that you see here in the picture. So even in the diaspora, even under all of this stress, our staff continue to be resilient and continue to do art. And actually the exhibition had the title Treasures of Gaza. And I think I have no other better description of Rana as a treasure of Gaza. But let me come to the West Bank, because life in the West Bank is not as harsh as in Gaza, but it's still harsh enough. Right now in the West Bank, one of the biggest problems are checkpoints. There are over 980 checkpoints inside the West Bank. They separate a village from the next village, a town from the next town. And Bethlehem actually itself has around 50 of these checkpoints just around Bethlehem. So it's very difficult to leave Bethlehem without going through a checkpoint. And most of these checkpoints, you can see it here in the left pictures. You have this yellow iron gate that is operated by remote control. So when Israel wants, they just push a button and then all the roads leading in and out of Bethlehem or any other town or village are closed, and people had to wait for hours. In fact, today I crossed the bridge, and yesterday evening at 9 we heard that Israel closed Jericho completely. No one can leave Jericho or enter Jericho, and without entering Jericho and leaving Jericho, you cannot cross to Jordan. So this morning, still at 8, these checkpoints were closed, totally closed, and thanks God, a bit later, Israel opened them, and so we could cross to Jordan. And these are not, what you see in these pictures, these are not like rush hour where you have traffic jams. These are man-made traffic jams where you have 2 young Israeli soldiers. They just close the checkpoint for hours, and then you have hundreds and thousands of Palestinian cars that have to wait for hours just to cross. And this is done actually just to humiliate people and to make life unlivable, so that people will decide to leave. So it's an ethnic cleansing mechanism, different than the ethnic cleansing mechanism in Gaza itself. And imagine what does this mean to professors who have to come every day from Ramallah to Dar al-Kalima, or students who have to come every day from Hebron to Bethlehem. Their life becomes really very, very sour. The second challenge that we are facing right now in the West Bank are actually Israel attacking the refugee camps. And they started, which you see in the picture here, in Jenin refugee camp all the way to the north. They destroyed most of the infrastructure, that is sewage system, water system, electricity, etc. And actually they displaced 40,000 people out of that refugee camp, making life there unlivable. After a few weeks in Jenin, they moved to Tulkarem, and they did the same thing. After that, they moved to Nablus, which is like in the center of the West Bank, destroying there the refugee camp. And we expect them to be in Bethlehem within a few weeks. And actually, these last few weeks, Israeli soldiers were in the Hisha refugee camp, which is around the corner from Dar al-Kalima. They were there every day, and they have already marked homes to be demolished. 2 of these homes belong to 2 of our students from that refugee camps. They want to destroy many of the buildings in the refugee camp, so to open a highway in the middle of the refugee camp. And those of you who were in refugee camps, they know these are very narrow alleys. And so the idea is to have this highway so that Israeli military tanks can enter into the refugee camp. But that's not all. Part of this attack on the refugees is also attack on UNRWA. As you know, Israel declared UNRWA a terrorist organization. Many countries stopped funding UNRWA, which is the United Nations Relief and Work Agency. And this week, Israel closed 6 of the UNRWA schools in East Jerusalem. So you have thousands of kids now in East Jerusalem without proper schooling. And the idea of that actually is to erase the memory and, the signs for the Nakba of 1948. Israel, in every major city in the world, they have a museum commemorating the Holocaust. So they want the whole world to remember the Holocaust done to the Jews in Europe. But they want now to erase our memory, our infrastructure that reminds people of the Nakba of 1948. With that also, they want actually to kill the right of return, so that refugees will not dream of either going back to where they came from or to get compensated for that. Israeli got billions and billions and billions of dollars to be compensated for the Holocaust, and they want to make sure that Palestinians are not compensated for the injustice done to them 1948. Now, with all of this, still our at Dar al-Kalima, our operation goes without interruption. Teachers and students, they come in spite of all the difficulties, and they continue to do art. And so this last month, they have their latest art exhibition that was done by our master students. It's called Shoulder to Shoulder. And this actually was done not in solidarity with Gaza, because one cannot be in solidarity with him or herself, but to say we are together in all of this. I love these paintings that one of our students did with a girl who is holding this cactus piece and running before the Israeli soldiers. Because this shows actually the trauma that our kids are experiencing, but it shows also their resilience, because the cactus is a symbol of Palestinian resilience. It is when Israel destroyed 52 villages in 1948 and erased them totally. They couldn't erase the cactus trees. Wherever you see a cactus tree inside Israel, you know there was a Palestinian village. In this exhibition, there weren't only paintings, but also sculptures. And there is one sculpture that I found to be telling about Dar al-Kalima, which you will see now in the next slide. It is this one. It's called, the name of it, this was done by one of our master students. His name is Ala. He comes from the north, from the Jenin area. And the name of this actually is Melody Despite the Rubble. Melody Despite the Rubble. And I think there is no other symbol that tells the story of Dar al-Kalima than this one. A young man who is, facing all of these challenges, handicapped, and yet he continue to play tunes of justice, of peace, and of hope. Dear sisters and brothers, thank you for helping us to keep this melody alive. Thank you for assisting us to keep hope alive in Palestine at this very difficult moment in our history. Thank you very much, and I wish you a blessed Holy Week and a happy Easter. May we all experience the power of the resurrected Christ.
My name is Raneem. I'm 18, and I'm studying in DEK fashion design. I'm here since maybe 10 months. My mother, she's a fashion designer. When I was a kid, I was really interested about this field. So when I'm done my high school, I told my parents, really, I want to study this thing. Dar al-Kalima University have a lot of benefits, give the student a lot of chance. I can express about myself and about my country. I have a dream, like any person. I dream to be the most popular fashion designer in the world, especially in Italy. I want to put my design in Fashion Week show, and I want to be with my twin always. With my parents, and they told me you should do your dream, even if there's an occupation, even if there's a lot of restrictions. You should do what you want and what you love. Actually, I inspired by my mother because she made a dress to me, actually talking about Palestine and Jordan, because my dad was living in Jordan and studying in Jordan. So the dress was two kufiya, Jordanian kufiya and Palestinian kufiya in different sides. Actually, the Israeli occupation destroyed my home in 2015, and yesterday was the memory. So my mother made this dress because in the same memory the last year. Sometimes takes 7 hours, sometimes 9, sometimes 12. But I'm not sure because there's a checkpoint, Israeli checkpoint, so it was not easy. Every day here, my favorite, really. Yeah, and the people here are so nice, and the college, this university, actually have a lot of benefits. give you a space to talking about yourself and expressive. I want to say thank you so much because you give us this chance to do our dream. Really, we appreciate it.
So Mitri, that was a wonderful, lovely video about Raneem, who we got to meet just last month, almost exactly a month ago when we were visiting the university, our small group coming to see the opening of the Hospitality Education Center and the Rami Zahi Khoury Entrepreneurship and Innovation Hub. And she touches on the checkpoints and the challenges and what they're facing. Could you share some additional information about kind of what's happening in the West Bank, specifically about raids and how that has changed or increased since January?
Yeah. I mean, you heard Raneem talking about checkpoints, like 2 months ago, her aunt died, and she comes from the Tulkarm area, which is 100 miles away from Bethlehem. It took her 9 hours to get from the university to her home. So when they got there, the funeral was over and they were devastated, she and her sister. So that's our daily bread, becoming almost our daily bread. But raids are indeed in the increase, almost on weekly, often daily basis. There are Israeli soldiers in Bethlehem, especially in the refugee camp, Dahish, next to us. And actually, this last week, an Israeli military jeep drove into our compound, and at the roundabout, at the entrance, they turned back and get out, and students were really scared. So we experienced this, especially in our neighborhood, because Dahish is next to us. We see that all the time. Yeah.
And along with that, we have a question about traveling around the West Bank, which you've touched on a little bit, but specifically, are Muslim and Christian worshipers seeing issues or restrictions trying to get to and from places of worship?
Oh, definitely. I mean, as I said at the beginning, I cannot go to Jerusalem now, for example, during this Holy Week. Even, like next week, I'm invited to a wedding of one of the church members. They will do it in Jerusalem. I cannot be there. So that is, again, the reality for most of the people, Christians as well as Muslims. Israel allowed a few number of people during Ramadan Fridays, especially older people, to go there. So one of our staff, who is in the support staff, she was able, but she's like, over 50 years old. She was able to get there. And that was like the first time in years for her to get there. It was like, going to the US for her, just going to Jerusalem. And sometimes people, I mean, imagine if Raneem's needed 9 hours to get to her home, it's you can be quicker in the US than, just traveling within the West Bank.
And Mitri, I know when we were there, you were showing me around and really explaining just what these checkpoints mean. And I'd love you to kind of illustrate that for this group here. You talked about professors needing additional cars just to get around Bethlehem. You showed me the checkpoint to get in and out for Jerusalem and the cars lined up. Maybe you could explain that in a little more depth so our group can kind of imagine it.
I mean, something very simple, like on Sunday, 2 days ago, we wanted to go for lunch. And my wife and myself, we love fish. And so we wanted to go to this fish restaurant, which is in Beit Jala. It is on Mount Everest, not the other Mount Everest, but on this higher ground overlooking Bethlehem. But to get there, there is a checkpoint. So you don't know. Okay, it was open, but if we go, maybe we cannot come back with our car. I mean, this is within the Bethlehem region. I mean, Beit Jala is just 2 miles away from Bethlehem. This restaurant is only 2 miles away from where I live. So something simple like this, you are not sure, can we get through? And if we get through, can we get back? For our students, this is their daily bread. Those coming from Hebron, Israel closes Hebron all the time, so nobody can get in or out. Sometimes they have to leave their car somewhere behind the checkpoint, walk through a dirt road, and then take public transportation to reach to the university. And I mean, this, it's just unbelievable.
And we have people asking, what can they do to help bring awareness and understanding around the checkpoints, the inability to travel, and lack of safety? So wanting to know, are there ways that they can bring that to light here in the United States?
Yeah, we want people to keep talking about Gaza, to keep talking about Jerusalem, to keep talking about Bethlehem, and to share with their friends, because unfortunately, most of the media outlets, they don't tell our story, or if they tell it in an Israeli fashion, not really corresponding to what's going on the ground. And so, especially those of you who have been to Palestine, who saw with their own eyes, heard with their own ear, experience with firsthand, we want them to continue sharing this story, especially at times like this when standing up for the rights of the Palestinian, for justice, is being criminalized. It is so important to keep talking, to keep paying witness actually to the crucified Lord and to the crucified nation.
And Mitri, I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in about the impacts of what is currently happening in the United States with our government on Palestine. What does that mean for you? What is it continuing to do in terms of the genocide? And what do you make of kind of proposals that have been floated around of the U.S. Taking over Gaza and making that into, I believe the term has been quoted, the Riviera of the Middle East?
Yeah, I mean, this whole talk about the Riviera of the Middle East. I mean, why should people in Gaza leave if this is Riviera of the Middle East? I mean, it doesn't make sense. You want to displace people, and then you say, okay, this is the Riviera of the Middle East with prime land. So why should people in Gaza be forced to leave this prime land? This only makes sense in a settler colonial aspect, because in settler colonialism, you want to take all the geography, but to push out the native people and to take their land as private property of the settlers. This is my explanation to it. But, Gaza is not for sale, and Gaza belongs to, it's own native people. Now, we are planning a conference in June, and I've invited several. Actually, these are PhD students from the Middle East. This is the second time that we gather them, and we send out the invitations, and I'm getting many of them saying they are afraid to leave the US. They're afraid. So some of them are American citizens, others have a green card, others are on student visa, but they are afraid to leave because they might not let them in again. And so, I could sense a fear that I never experienced before. And this is really sad to see for the country of the free and the country of the brave. It's when students cannot experience and they cannot actually say what they think. This is very worrying, to say the least.
And along with that, you were talking about settler colonialism and what that looks like and what that means. And we've had a question about settler violence in the West Bank. And hearing that there's an increase, can you speak to that?
Oh yeah, I mean, the Jewish settlers, they are gone wild right now because they feel this current Netanyahu government supports them, whatever they do. You saw that the Palestinian director for the film who won the Oscar was attacked. His village, his family, by Jewish settlers. And when the Israeli soldiers came, they actually, instead of protecting him, they actually supported the settlers. This story is continuing on daily basis. Like yesterday in the south of Bethlehem, they attacked a shepherd. And they took his sheep. This is, again, they think this is private property for the settlers. So yeah, I mean, these settler attacks are in the increase, definitely.
And I think we have just a few more questions before we wrap up today. A lot of them about coming in solidarity, about does it make sense for people to come visit now? Is that helpful to plan trips over? And if so, questions about citizens or international visitors traveling through checkpoints. Is there a difference? Is there not?
Yeah, I mean, we welcome groups. We need groups to come. And Tracy, you saw it with your own eyes. You were able to come and be with us for almost a week. And in spite of everything, I think you had a great time. Maybe great time is the wrong word, but you were able to experience firsthand what's going on, both the hopes and the fears at the same time. So we welcome group. We need them. Now at the checkpoint, you can go to Jerusalem. I cannot. But if you are stuck at a checkpoint, yeah, I mean, you are stuck. You have to wait for hours like us, because there is no way to bypass all of these cars, especially that most of these streets are one-lane street. So maybe the good thing today is you apply for this ETA visa online, which means if you get it, I mean, if they don't want you in, you will know it beforehand. So now I feel, you can apply, and if it's approved, you can come with hopefully less anxiety.
And I'd love to kind of add on to that thought, because you're right. We were able to come spend a week on the DAK campus, seeing the students who were just so inspiring, and just realizing it's a very typical college experience for them in a very unimaginable outside scenarios pushing it on them, but they are still excited for what they're learning, for seeing their friends. That was the highlight, I think, of every student we talked to, was just being with their friends. And I've heard from other supporters who have visited that the university is kind of like an oasis in the middle. It's very peaceful and serene. And how true that description is didn't really dawn on me until we were there. You have this overwhelming sense of hope and peace when you join, and these smiling student faces that have every reason not to be smiling with all the challenges they're going through. And I would like to drive home. Please visit. We luckily got through the checkpoints pretty easily as international travelers. And there are so many people you need to stand with in Palestine. And we really, really want you people to all go and see that new restaurant.
And to taste the food, both.
The food was amazing. Chef Bossum and the culinary arts students really outdo themselves. And I'd really love to take a moment to kind of wrap up and talk about other ways that all of you can continue to support. Again, we said come and visit. We want you to pray. We want you to read the stories about these amazing students. You saw Raneem's story earlier. We will have updates about our other students like Wasim, who you've all seen multiple times playing the guitar in the courtyard, but he has shared his story about wanting to continue on after this final year of his courses to get a master's in film. He's found ways to be inspired and pull all of his talents together. And again, one of the best ways you can support Bright Stars of Bethlehem and Dar al-Khalami University, our staff and students, is to donate. You can use the QR code that you see online, or a lot of you got this wonderful appeal that shows you how beautiful that Hospitality Education Center is that we want you to visit. So again, please donate. We know that our students need this. We will never outraise the need. While we were there, we got to see our students accepting scholarships through a wonderful ceremony. But that's 41% of our students are getting assistance, because we know tourism is a staple of the economy, and most of their families are without work as tourists are not there. So visit, donate, become an ambassador. I've seen a lot of our ambassadors in the chat sharing questions and concerns. If you want to help us spread the word, you can get a hold of me. My email's at the bottom of that wonderful slide. We would love to have you join our team. And what that means is helping support events, bringing in speakers in your area, sharing out information from Bright Stars to people you know, and just helping us be the frontline people here in the US, help us grow our team and our outreach, so more people can see our amazing student faces. And again, as we end today, we want to thank you for the time you have taken out of your day. This is an hour that you decided to spend with us because this story is important to you. Palestine is important to you, and you are standing with us. And the impact of that can't be understated, that you are standing in solidarity with Palestine. So again, from the bottom of our hearts, we are so grateful and thankful for all of you. And again, appreciate you and thank you for being some of the shining stars over Bethlehem.